you're fighting as well, because I think that's very important for health and fitness.
Bilal,
Oh,
awesome work, man. This humanitarian projects that you're doing there, like making a big change. So yeah, salute to you.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
yeah, so, you're welcome, man. So I've been in the personal training business of health and fitness for about 15 years. Um, During that time, I got involved in teaching workshops all around the world. I'm an elite coach for the World Calisthenics Organization, so there's a sport called calisthenics. Also, during that time, I started training jiu-jitsu, which I have a brown belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and started training MMA as well. Had a few amateur MMA fights, sort of transitioned from all of that until we eventually got to today, where through the help of a good buddy of mine, we decided that we wanted to help make a change in the world. And the way that everything's moving, we essentially wanted to come up with a way that we could incentivize people to work out by paying them in XDC. So the the decentralized app that we have is called BlockFit, and how it works is basically a user goes through a 60-day challenge. At the end of the 60-day challenge, depending on how much they worked out, they'll be rewarded with an NFT, which it counts as a proof of integrity NFT, and then they'll be issued a health token. So the health token that's issued cannot be bought, it can only be earned. And the good thing about it is we have a partnership with a company called Comtech Gold, who tokenize all the gold on the XDC network, meaning that there's a liquidity function behind the token itself. And on top of that, in the future, it can all, once 20% of the tokens are circulated, people can swap their health token on the group DEX for Comtech. So it almost acts like a pension. And the great thing that we've done in our ecosystem, because it's all based on smart contracts, an individual has to be able to hit a certain calorific effort. So they have to be able to burn a certain amount of calories, and they have to get their heart rate up to a certain amount of their maximum capacity. It's linked to the heart rate monitor or smartwatch, and that's of course linked to the smart contracts, meaning that they can't cheat it at all. So the smart contract will know if the individuals hit their workout for the day and if it's been completed or not. So during that time, over the 60 days, if someone doesn't complete the workout, then it's forfeited the money, and it's recycled back in. So the great thing that we've done as well with Elite is we've created something called Block Fund, which is the first and only donations mechanism on the blockchain where people can donate to charities and they'll receive like an NFT, like proof of donations, which they can use, because a lot of the time people donate to charities and they don't know where the money goes. So it's linked to that. So when people don't complete their workout, a certain percentage goes into the Block Fund app, which is then released to charities helping foster kids or building calisthenics parks around the world, so we can get people to be a little bit more fitter. And then another portion of it is distributed into buying carbon credits, which we're going to have on the group DEX, where essentially in the future, as long as people continue to work out, they're always going to find a way to offset their carbon, because the world that we're moving into now, it seems like there's going to be a universal basic income, social credit score, and everything like that. So what we've created is a decentralized universal basic income, where we're saying to people, look, you can pay your light bill, you can pay your electricity, you can put gasoline in your car if you just work out. So that's the incentive, is what we're giving out to the world with that.
amazing. Thank you, Sammy. I didn't know if you were still talking. My screen glitched or something, but thank you for that. You know, it makes me like, again, it's like creating an economy around health. Another dope thing. I love to exercise, so definitely I challenge y'all to get on the 60-day challenge. All right, Alistair, let's go to you and let's talk about your application.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite hard to follow those two acts. So yeah, I think, I mean, I just comment a little bit quickly on Haptra. So Haptra is something that I set up over the first COVID lockdown. It's been an app that I've been running for a few years now. And the purpose of it as a traditional Web 2 app, and we'll come on to, I'm sure, what those boundaries mean and what those categorizations mean. But it's basically an app where you put in the foods that you're going to eat today. There's a friendly coach in there, someone like Sammy, giving you sort of guidance on calorific goals that you want to hit, energy and nutrient goals that you want to hit. You put in the foods that you were going to eat anyway. So it might be a chocolate bar, it might be a pint if you're so inclined, and you put in all the foods that you're going to eat in one day. You hit a big button that says balance, and a piece of AI changes the amounts of all the food to get as close to that target calorific content and nutrient content as possible. So completely isolated from blockchain as an original project, but one of the things that I'll be honest, I find really difficult, right? Anyone who sets up an app, anyone that sets up a project, other members on the call, and I'm sure other people that watch this podcast with you as well, will, that like getting people to feel a sense of ownership in your app is really, really difficult. There's like hundreds of thousands of apps. So many of them are in the health and fitness space, particularly around food and nutrition. If you look at any other nutrition app, you've got the same problem of logging food, and that just takes hours. Like, you just want to eat that sandwich when it's in front of you at lunchtime. You don't want to have to log it. And so you really need to buy people in. And whilst this is a little bit of a peek behind the curtains, behind the scenes, like,
break it down.
That's what blockchain is, and Algorand, particularly this NFT series, has allowed Haptra to do. Is it's allowed us to build a community around it that feels invested. And I don't mean invested in a financial sense. I feel invested like they're part of the community. Like, we've got I'll put it this way: our best feedback about the app comes from our NFT owners, and it also allows us to do something different, which is that as an alternative to in-app purchases, we're not giving so much capital away or so much revenue away, to Apple and Google. And similarly, our consumers are getting a fantastic experience where they have the sense of ownership, the sense of belonging in the community, but also they pay once and that's the end of it. I mean, how many businesses in the last however many years have become subscription only? And you miss DVDs, right? You miss being able to go to the shop and just buy DVDs and know you own that film. I think it's what I take real encouragement from this call around is that if you look at what Bilal is doing, that's the complete other end of the value chain. That is about the supply chain for food. Whereas this is the very other end of the spectrum on the demand side, and actually how you build a relationship with consumers of food products and how you engage them in digital experiences around their health and nutrition. And even just joining this call, there's a fantastic energy, because like, we feature coaches in the app. So Sammy, you're getting a call or a DM after this. Like, there's no reason we couldn't accept payment for these NFTs in fame. And then you've suddenly got a point, right, where you, like, at least with that latter example, where you've joined the supply and the demand side of that spectrum together. And so this is the real power of blockchain, right? We were talking about interoperability earlier. You get to a point where it's like, you can just get on a call like this, or go down to a bar, or go down to a startup event in London, meet someone, and you're working on the same technology backbone. And that just cannot happen with technologies other than this. So just a little bit about what I've been doing with Haptra and where I'd love to take it in the future if the folk on the call wanted. But there's silly ideas, hey.